Worrying news for Everton fans perhaps be waking up to today, because on the back page of the Times, they are reporting that Jordan Pickford's Everton future is in doubt. The Toffees boss, Frank Lampard, has said he wants the 28-year-old to sign the new package as soon as possible. However, the Mail are reporting that they understand that the delay is at boardroom level and has nothing to do with the player. Now, sources have expressed surprise that the contract remains with the club's owners when a swift resolution had been expected before Pickford left for Qatar. So just to reiterate then the issue, it seems as though that there was a discussion with Jordan Pickford's representatives about agreeing a new deal. I think he's into the last 18 months of his current contract at Goodison. Yet supposedly the agreement that had been put in place, there's actually no actual contract being put in place in terms of for Pickford to sign.
It's in pencil.
Indeed.
Not in biro.
Maybe not, yeah. Maybe not even in pencil. Maybe it's just in the air somewhere. To hear that England's number one is in a situation where he is, well, without this new contract to sign, is that... Well, one, I mean, how do you think Everton fans will be feeling this morning hearing this? And also, is this a case of Everton not showing some respect to England's number one?
Well, does it sound like their finances aren't in order, where they can't offer the contract that Pickford wants, or that people are saying that it has been agreed? Maybe the club actually hasn't got the money to agree that deal, if that makes sense. Because also strange for me is that you'd think Jordan Pickford would be looking at moving. I'm looking at his teammates and they're playing Champions League football. Declan Rice is looking to leave and go and play and win things. I'm sure 28 is a perfect age for Jordan Pickford to be thinking, you know what, I want to go and play Champions League football. You know, I don't want to be in a relegation battle every season with Everton, but maybe his agents had them convos, Natalie, with Spurs, who need a keeper. You know, Lloris is getting on, and maybe they're looking elsewhere. So it's strange that he'd want to sign a new contract, to be honest, Pickford, and maybe it's financial reasons why Everton can't really get that over the line.
Well, according to the Times, if you delve in a little bit further into the story, they say that his current deal does not have a relegation clause in his contract. So the inclusion of one in any proposed new deal is perhaps a little bit of a stumbling block.
He won't sign that. So a player like Jordan Pickford isn't signing a relegation clause. Only if the relegation clause is, say you lose half your wages, but I can leave for 10 million. Yeah. You know, if that's added to it, that's something that maybe he will sign. But these negotiations that clubs have to have. Do you remember when Newcastle went down? I think you had Alan Smith, was it, Nicky Butt? You had some of these players that were earning 60, 70 grand a week in the Championship. You
mentioned there about maybe finances is the issue here. Again, the Times are saying, well, actually, they're continuing their own negotiations with Anthony Gordon, for example, and Alex Iwobi is also close to an extension after his impressive early season performances for the club. So it does seem as though some players are having these discussions now, and maybe contracts are being put on the table for them, yet not so much with Jordan Pickford. You've already alluded there that Tottenham could be a team looking at him with the situation of Hugo Lloris. Is he a keeper that definitely could be playing in a top six club?
100%. And I went through the a couple of weeks ago, the top 6-7 teams who need a keeper. Okay. And you look at Arsenal are fine, Man City are fine, Manchester United maybe could need one, but David De Gea, you'd think will sign a new contract, you know, and sort that out. Chelsea have got 2 goalkeepers. Liverpool have got Alisson. It's only really Spurs who you'd say, Lloris, you know, getting on now into his 30s. The Spurs want to give him the contract, a new big contract long term. Is that a club where you could see Jordan Pickford at? I think it is. You know, he can play out from the back like the best keepers in the world. And England's number one as well. And he's a great shot stopper. He's got that energy as well within his game. I think he'd be a perfect signing for Spurs.
And in terms of him being England's number one,
massive.
Forgive me, Everton fans, but does he not then need to be playing clubs higher up the table that aren't involved in a relegation battle that Everton have been involved in the last few seasons?
I think he 100% does, and that's why I'm surprised that he's even talking about a new contract. Because if I'm in Jordan Pickford's shoes at 28, I'm thinking, I want to go and play Champions League. I want to fight to win a trophy. I want to fight to play in Europe. You know, because you're going to get more experience by playing in European competitions and become a better goalkeeper. and you can't take that England number 1 position for granted. What if, Arsenal looking like they're going to be Champions League football next season, and you got Arsenal's number 1 Ramsdale playing Champions League football? Could that affect your position as England's number 1 for the next tournament? So if I was him, I wouldn't be looking at signing a new contract at Everton.
This is not what Everton fans want to be hearing.
But they're realistic. I think they'll be realistic and look at, I don't blame him. If I was an Everton fan, I'd say I don't blame him. We look at us, we're in 17th. Our next game is against Manchester City away. I bet they're dreading going to watch that game and seeing them perform against Manchester City. And you can't hear it. You're not hearing about any players coming in, are you? You're not hearing, this player's linked with Everton. Look where they are on the league table. Who's going to really want to join him at the moment? They're in a bad way, Everton, and losing 2-1 to Wolves in the last minute at home. That wouldn't have gone down well with the fans.
It doesn't help as well that Frank Lampard, and I get it in a way because he's being realistic, and he's actually being realistic to everybody, and he's said it from very early on this season. This is a club that will be in a relegation battle. He has said that before.
Yeah.
That if you're hearing that as a prospective player, are you thinking, are you thinking A, this is a great challenge to be involved in, or are you thinking B, I don't know if I want that?
I think Lampard's been clever there in a way of if he keeps them up, maybe he sees it as a successful season, by saying it's a relegation battle. But as a player, you're looking around and you're surely we're good enough to not be in a relegation battle. And as a fan, you're thinking if he's saying that, wow, Everton Football Club in a relegation battle. I mean, if you'd said that 5-6 years ago, what would you have said to people who'd said Everton in 2022 would be in a relegation battle? You wouldn't believe it, would you? So they need investment. Calvert-Lewin, can you keep him fit? And Gordon, can you give him the contract that he's going to accept, his age is going to accept because he's going to go? Yeah, I just think they need some investment in that squad.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.